A very warm welcome, everyone. We have a truly transformative program scheduled for you now. We are about to embark on a journey designed to reveal the deep, intrinsic connection between your breath and your emotions, all through a masterclass intended to practically elevate your artistry while inhabiting characters. Let's have a look at the AV, please.
Any kind of creative journeys need a greater support. At the end of the day, theatre is a practiced one. It's not a degree-giving place.
Good night, sleep.
Tang tang tang.
Our speaker is a powerhouse and a theatre guru, a dedicated student and disciple of the late Guru Veena Chawla. He is the principal creative force sustaining the evolution of Adi Shakti's unique theatrical work. What he achieves is astonishing. He successfully takes ancient wisdom from disciplines like Ayurveda and Kudiyattam and blends it seamlessly with contemporary understanding from fields like neurobiology. This masterclass will cultivate an unparalleled insight in you regarding how breath patterns fundamentally govern our emotional state and expression, both on the stage and in daily life. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Vinay Kumar, the Artistic Director of the Adi Shakti Laboratory for Theatre Arts Research, Alta. May I now request the Additional Secretary, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, Shri Prabhat Sir, to please join us on stage to felicitate our distinguished guest. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And now over to you, sir, with a gracious request to please commence your session.
Thank you so much. I have 1.5 hours and I need to squeeze in so many things. So I'm like one of this roadside vendor selling underwear, telling it is Calvin Klein. Until you get convinced, that's the first chapter, first step I need to take to convince you what I'm going to tell or share. Share is the word I will utilize it, because performance practice, I can put two ideologically different people on the stage and they still survive. But different performance practitioners, they vehemently subscribes to the practices they do, and sometimes it can be quite alarmingly almost go over the head once you question or ask or oppose ideas of practices. So the entire session is not about contradicting the practices. Any of you are performers or performance or performing, continue to perform. The idea is to not to contradict, but create a connection, last mile connection between your prep and the performance itself. I want these ideas to go beyond the notions of performance to our own day-to-day life, because that's where the source of the ideas comes from. So today's session starts with the notions of emotion. So what is your opinion on emotion? Are you all completely in control of your emotions? If anyone is, I'm not generalizing, but in general sense, you can say this is the one thing that frightens us. No. You think that you kept everything clear, everything under control. You turn and look back, everything is collapsed. What do you build? So what we need to understand in certain extent is what is emotion. I'm going to keep a note here because in my normal way of speaking, I can go left, right, center, and most people give me that freedom, but 1.5 hours is not going to. So I'm asked to keep certain note for the clarity. So I'll be glancing. I'm not prepared the whole thing. Okay. So, emotion. People can live under the same roof for decades. Okay? Share everything, every component, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, one complaint is, you don't know me or you can't understand my emotion. How many times, at least, even if you are not articulated, this line would have been gone through our head. You don't need to be interpersonal relationship. Any kind of relationship, any kind of interaction, this one word, the other not understanding me, is a question we may not be addressed in public domain because we always think it should happen in personal spaces, but not addressed it. Why that question emerges? How can we understand somebody emotionally? Do we have tools? Do we teach emotion? At the end of the day, that's what the biggest important survival kit we needed. Do we teach emotions? I can't see. You have, at least neurobiologists say, everyone practice their emotion within a larger collective by trial and error. And that trial and error method you will never practice in front of your parents. It's always siblings, connected people, niece, uncles, larger friends, and so on and so forth. What nuclear families or post-industrial world created is one father, okay, well, of course it will be one father. Father, mother, and two kids within four walls, created within 4 generations. I'm not generalizing. Within 4 to 5 nuclear families, generation past, what you created is dysfunctional parents keep teaching their kids how to emote, how to survive. So we are at this today, 2025, when we are standing, the ideas of emotion itself is in peril. What created emotion 20 years ago is irrelevant. So do the words. If you look at etymology of most of the word, what we articulate as an emotion and origin of that word is absolutely disconnected. I'll give you one example of one word to start off with. Commonly we use a word called passion. Okay. Any of you know the real meaning of passion, original meaning of passion? Where it is all started. You'll be looking at a 2 lovers sitting on the seaside and one is going to go away. You'll say, such a passionate lover. We use these words left and right without understanding what is the emotion behind that word. Because each word is not a linguistic creation. It's a collection of people lived together, worked on the emotion, finally arriving its essence to pack it in one single word. So when you use a word, you need to be very careful. At the age when everything is so-called democratization we are talking about, when anybody can utter a word means its impact is much more than you physically hitting me. Okay, but back to the word passion. Any of you can tell what, please? Yeah, the passion. Okay, that's good one. Good one to start with. Huge drive for something. Anything else? I will not ask for many because I have 1.5 hours. I could have spent 5 hours. That's what normally I do. But how do you translate junoon? That because Hindi mein one meaning is the original one meaning is which one we should... I know, like multiple etymology. If you look at it, we are using words in different meaning space. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. I will keep asking you. I'm not going to leave you like that. Okay, but yeah, you can go back there. Shadang Fadang, no. Did you say that? Okay. So, ideally, the origin of word, suffer, the passion means to suffer. It's pretty much like in the early stages, particularly Roman Empire, followed by Catholicism, organized church is coming. And most of the religious practices you can see, one offer one's own body in front of God, surrendering, and say, my body, I'm irrelevant, take my body. That meaning is what later we started applying to even somebody sitting and physically suffering in a situation. We started applying very loosely. We started applying this word. So we are living in a place the word itself started losing the ideas of word and what lies behind as an emotion. We are taking from a very superficial domain. And adding into our misery, we have stimulative imagination is gone for a toss because your visuals are already stimulated by a number of content that is visually available. All I need to cut and paste. My visual imagination, my emotional sense is already available in public domain. Now, linguistically, if you look at it, at least in India, every language, 40% of the communicative language came from cinema. The popular cinema, the text written, because already a strong visual is there. You don't need to explain the visual. You don't need to crank your brain. Visual is there. I give the reference. The same person who also watched that visual correspond in a different state. Okay, so emotion itself is going through an enormous amount of transition. That's the juncture we are sitting. What I am going to share with you a different way of looking at emotion. Okay. The studies of emotion is something that everybody carry, particularly post-disastrous political upheaval in Europe and two wars, followed by industrialization, demand of non-emotional spaces. That is what industry done it. Industry don't ask you to emote. Industry told you, shut up and do produce. The ramification we don't know, but the ramification is enormous. And that's the time our darling at that time called psychoanalysis entered. Now in the 70s, everybody is psychoanalyzing, everybody is smoking, everybody is psychoanalyzing, everybody is an impressionist, everybody is a cubist. So they all had a glorious time analyzing human emotion through this certain kind of tools. After a certain point, it became irrelevant. 10 years, it had a glorious run. But in performance practice, personally, I don't think that's a tool, that is something that we can depend. Because even if your father died, your maximum capacity to recall or remember is 3 weeks. Okay. So the memory is something that is very fragile. It don't create the neural body to relate. I can construct an idea, but my neural body is a beast. You don't listen to what you fed here. Your so-called mind or your so-called intuitive behavior is not yours. I think I am behaving in any social context because it's mine. None of your physical movement is intuitive. I trained you. Your father, your mother, your sister, your uncle, your teachers, multiple people told you how to behave in every scenario. Now, how do I tell you that? When you walk into an airport, there is an already prefixed rhythm is there. You can't enter in any way to an airport. If you go to a hospital, there is a prefixed rhythm, prefixed emotion. Every social context you encounter or be there already fixed. You are thinking that you are enjoying a free life. enjoying an independent way of behavior. No, it's already a larger umbrella is laid in terms of conditioning and controlling the human emotion, in terms of rhythm, in terms of breath. Now, one of the things what we commonly say it in any kind of interpersonal relationship, if it goes toxic, is on the deathbed. What are the key words we describe to say that situation? Means your relation is going kaput. Apart from that, it's not yet finished. You are complaining to another person. I should be careful. In my excitement, I would have jumped it, okay? Fed up. But everybody uses a key word. Depression follows. Any of you use the word suffocating? Why do you feel suffocating in a relationship? Because every human relationship is manipulating each other's breath. I tell you how to breathe. In a relationship, particularly this work, because it's all about fight. I love that person, but unconsciously, as consciously, what we are trying to do is fit into my breathe. Breathe the way I want. These are not visible things. These are very invisible gaslighting techniques human being employs to each other. Because after screwing the rest of the world and got control, we thought, okay, now how to screw each other. And the two things we evolved, one is called knowledge, one is called breath, one is called rhythm. We don't even know how we manipulate. Everything is hierarchy. Human being, that's how I'm telling you, fit into my hierarchy, fit into the rhythm. I create spaces, fit into that. I already prefixing the rhythm. How do you breathe? One single breathe, you are not fit enough to enter the space. Okay, so we live at a time where this unknown manipulation of human emotion is increasingly become dangerous. A place where human emotion itself is in a confused state. Okay, so this is where I want to share some of the work we do in Adishakti. Is primarily swimming between ancient knowledge system to neurobiology to mathematics. Okay, so let's define emotion. What is emotion to you? Okay, tell me, please. Energy in motion. Now the point is, in performance and in understanding emotion, we can't eulogize. Our problem is we explain using literature to explain another thing. That's not producing any tangible evidence to what we're supposed to do or what we're supposed to understand. So you said energy. That is emotion. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Yes?
I would say it is the expression on your face is what you feel internally, is what you exhibit externally. That's a kind of emotion you carry.
Okay. I know. That's one of the problem with emotions. See, I myself need to adhere to that. Okay? Okay, breath is that. Don't make me jobless here. Don't do the punchline in the beginning itself. I will come to that. Okay, that's my punchline. Okay, right. Last question. Okay, I would have spent more time. Yeah. Okay, he attended the class, so I will not ask him. He's showing this. Okay, so you're all right, but you're all wrong. This is good enough for a PhD thesis, an academic thesis. But you are not going to understand emotion. Because we assume emotion is very complex. Is it emotion is very complex? It is not. That's a beauty. Because we are per se created to born, play around, hunt and gather food, fornicate, regenerate, and die. You're not doing anything beyond that. Don't pretend. Okay, if you are, we will not be in this state. Okay. So none of us are creating this glorious ideas we pump in and cheat each other. That's it itself is a hierarchical manifestation called knowledge. Today all of you are sitting and listening to me now. because I'm talking to you something that you don't know, or I believe that. Everything is a kind of manipulation that is what happening. Okay, so what you given me, okay to be a thesis, but it's not giving me any insight. That's also my punchline. See, anyway, you are good. You are correct, but I will come to that in my own way. Otherwise, these people say everybody knows this. Okay, okay. So let me just say this one, and I will come back to you. So my 3 questions. How many days you can live without food? It's subjective, but yes. 2 days. 1 day is 2 days. Good. How many days you can live without water? Again, 1 to eternity. How many days you can live without sex? By the way, studies of emotion can't fit into any moral argument, any righteous argument. That's the first thing you need to understand. So I can take an extreme guy with an extreme left point of view. I can take a guy with an extreme right, guy or woman or man or whoever it is, extreme right and extreme left. At the time of their feeling their euphoria, amount of chemicals pumped into their body, either it's dopamine or serotonin or any chemicals, will be equal. There is no hierarchical chemical disparity within this anatomical physical body structure. Okay, I'm just throwing this stuff so that you will understand. So, sex? Subjective. Okay. How many days you can live without breath? So, 3 minutes, if you don't have it, that is 3 minutes is a dying person, a drowning person's breath capacity is 3 minutes, they will be able to stimulate and float and try to survive. 3 minutes, a component in your physical body, that's not you are looking at your own elimination. And how much information we have about that component. It goes in, it comes out, beyond that. That's it. That's all we know. You know that respiratory system, it goes in, inshallah, some other help, it goes in, comes out. Beyond that, any of these ideas are there. We have a very limited clues about our own body. We think emotion is created here. Emotion is created here? Absolutely not. This have nothing to do with emotion. These may be triggers, but your entire anatomical body that is linger and interconnected with your respiratory system. Now, new study, last 3 years, great studies are coming, particularly the notions of circadian clock. Most of you maybe heard about clocks. Now, circadian clock is primarily we concern or consider as a 24-hour timekeeping signature, but now science say that ancient knowledge system much more, particularly Indian knowledge system, cracked it at least 20 centuries before. It says there are one primary clock interconnected to every little organ from skin to your liver to your kidney, micro clock that control each mechanism interconnected to the primary mechanism, primary clock, that is your respiratory system. So what will happen? How do these mechanics function? It needs to function. Any machine functions in a world. No? That world will have a rhythm, a tempo, an RPM. We also have an RPM. What RPM we work? Comfortable RPM. I'm taking emotion because this entire idea is to look at it emotional or the felt emotion from the perspective of anatomy, not a large mind-related activity. Any of you know, hundreds of season C, season 3, season 3, every doctor in every series will be looking like this, na? What are they doing? Pulse. How come on? It's there in our body. Okay. What is that pulse? Heartbeat. Somebody said that. 72 beat pulse rate. 72 beat pulse rate. That is a resting heart rate between 60 to 100. 72 beat pulse rate. If you are going, you're okay. If you are hit below 60, you are depressed. If you are 120, you are hyper. Okay, so you have a mechanics that is primarily controlled by not this, it's your respiratory system. Any deviation create pressure within a body like any factory that functions as a machine. Movement pressure comes, what will happen? Your entire neuromuscle structure, your physical body bend, arch, stretch to accommodate that pressure that is building up in the body. This stretched muscle, this extended body, in multiple contexts, in evolution, we start identifying with a larger group of people, then we say, emotion. As simple as that. It's a pressure that happened within your body, and that created particular patterns of muscularity. Now don't look at culture. There's one thing we talk about is emotion and culture. Bullshit. You take a boy or a girl, 6-year-old, from any part of the world, they cry the same way. There is nothing called sophisticated, underlying crying. People are going to do it. That's what culture do. Culture is a large umbrella. The first thing any culture is controls your emotion. So when I say my emotion is part of your culture, you need to look at your own culture. An culture that don't allow you to emote as freely as possible inherently will have a lot of problem. Okay, so where am I? 72-beat pulse rate. You have a respiratory system that work. And if this respiratory system, any kind of intervention that happen to your respiratory system create pressure in the body, and that pressure will be creating an articulative disturbance to your body, and that muscularity is what create what we call emotion. Okay, that's a science and anatomy of emotion. Okay. How are you? Now the complexity of emotion. Okay, now you suddenly, when I say that, oh, that's simple. This is a vast, huge, interconnected world. How can we reduce emotion to that? As simple as that. No. It will come to that. So what is the complexity of emotion? I said human beings have a very, very functionally, I'm saying not a lot of complicated emotion. We just want to do all this thing. Just put your hand on your heart and just figure it out last 3 months what you've done. What is your preoccupation? I said we are very simple people. We want to born, do lots of play run, lots of food and gathering food, fornicate, regenerate, and dies down. Anything beyond that, we done it last 3 months? 80% of our preoccupation? You don't need to ask, tell me. Okay, so what make the complexity? Complexity is very simple. I'll just give you a hypothesis. Imagine early time, where the first food growers and food gatherers are the same people who consume the food also. They cultivated, they gathered food, they consumed food, everything going hunky-dory. One day, one person didn't come up. That person is staring at the sky. They look at him. He said, he's not coming. After 10 days, he said, okay, don't put the seed. Tomorrow is going to rain. Everybody said, what is this, man? The next day, bang on, the rain came. He said, oh my God, you know how? He said, okay, I can share that knowledge, but I need one portion of your food. Thus born the first intermediary between food and what we eat. Then the next day, their entire crop is gone for a toss because it's an excessive rain. There is another person who came, I know that your entire 1 year's work is gone, but you need to understand somebody is beyond you. Somebody's control. I can talk about that. He talked about it. The energy is beyond. Everybody felt happy. Today, 2025, when you stand, what I told that is available in 5 miles, under a tree, under a meadow, food, gathering, fornication, regeneration, everything. Today, I need to negotiate with 100 people in order to reach any of this subject. If my food, I need to take a flight, come here, I need to talk, make you believe, get, and then go back and get the food. So what makes the emotion complex is fundamental ideas to reach, you need to be in a transactional emotional world. The amount of transactional interaction you need to do a day it's beyond. We are not set like that. We are not created like that. We are believing that we can do all that, but your physical body will not able to carry the kind of pressure, because I will tell you, there is one primary emotion called anger. Now we look at emotions as a black and white. But emotions are most of the time not emotion, they are agents who allow us to do things. Any physical activity, you need to stimulate a pressure from this two muscle structure where the anger is situated. So you assume you met 10 people, part of your pitching, part of your work, you want to smile and say hi. At the end of the day, you are not recognizing your anatomical body stimulated in package a full-blown anger version. That's how you survived. Every time you meet a person, you are tightening this. You are not recognizing this. At the end of the day, when you go back, the first place you hold or clutch is your neck. Because you created that physical kinetic energy. It don't come from the outside. It comes from within your body. You are stimulating minor doses of anger in order to survive, in order to negotiate each of the situation. Okay, so I'll take you one step. So that's what anatomical structure of emotion. I'll take you this to Indian studies or the knowledge system in India to elaborate a little more. So most of the Europe post-war studies are there, but at the same time, we have almost 1,000 years of studies on emotion. Beautiful. Even like a modern science will not able to understand it. But unfortunately, it's our own peril, modernity versus knowledge. And do you want to touch the ancient knowledge? These are the questions some of us. Are we progressive enough if you touch the ancient knowledge? Some of the questions a lot of people ask. Remove all that and approach it as a knowledge system. Any of you can say, who would have been studied emotion in ancient India? Not Bharata Muni at all.
Parvati is asking the question about who am I and what is my
Okay,
existence.
Would have been. I'm not disputing. I would be saying a little more. That's one of the things what you need to look at it from the necessity of studying emotion. Not in a spiritual terminology. I say actual physical way.
Sir,
These are all philosophical discourse. I'm not going into philosophical discourse. Here, the argument is about the body.
sir, but it was quite scientific in the nature, as in Vigyan Bhai.
I'm not disputing any of that. I'm not disputing
in
any
the
of that.
spiritual sense, sir.
I'm not disputing any of that, but I'm saying that the knowledge system go a little more beyond where tangibly you need to see. Okay. Tangibly I need to see this one. Good point. Absolutely, you are correct. All emotion, any culture, the first learners will be the physician. They are the people who look at it. They are the people who look at the anatomy. There need to be a cure. There need to be a treatment. So that's why Indian study, even performance study later, assimilated this technique, and part of Bharata Muni and part of the treatise may be taken it, but the original thinking is happened in Ayurveda. Okay. Why? Because they able to create the first segment of the study, able to create 3 doshas. Vada, Pitta, Kapha. Now, one of our problem with it, our own misery is, how do I tell these names? It's such a sticky point. I'm progressive, but yet, my God, what the hell? You need to, okay, if you want to understand something like that. So, Vada, Pitta, Kapha, all Asian knowledge system knows that the circulation of the breath, okay, circulation of the breath is what create the ability of body to function. Forget about spirituality, forget about everything. Forget about any of that aspect, just look at your own day. The day when you're happy, what will happen? You're just pumped with dopamine, that's all, as simple as that. You have serotonin, you have oxytocin, and you have everything that is allowed your body to function. When the moment you have a drastically reduction in what happened, the first casualty in your body is your serotonin don't comes, your dopamine don't come. Any happy hormones, happy chemicals that is needed to be vital in functionality of the body, stop producing it. As simple science as possible. This is what they identified it. Because they need to treat, I get a patient, I touch him, I look at him, and I need to figure it out, what is the problem? That's where they first figure it out. There are 3 doshas, primarily the breath. Now in modern science, if you go to a hospital, where you will see the longest queue, which department? None of you went to hospital recently. Eh? You are? Oh, post-COVID, okay. Gastro. You go and check. For a simple acid reflux, it can all the way to go to pancreatic cancer or subsequent cancer. It's all, first route is checked in gastro, then only it goes to specialized department. Watch the gut is not just a minimal world. Now the world is understanding. We just looked at what the colonial construction of ideas of aesthetics and etiquette created. We don't even look at your shit. But I'm unparliamentary word is what came in my mouth. Normally in my workshop I use this, I will not. But every species does. What are you special? Cat smell is shit. Dog smell is shit. That's how they find the remedy. Who are you? Suddenly to be going beyond the natural physicality of the body and saying high fantas. Okay, so, what's the last point I said? I get very excited. A gastro, the vayu. So these people figure it out. Okay, there is this imbalance of air because you live in a transactional emotion. A transactional emotion means your life is not decided by you. Following that, I am taught stimulative technique. That is left, right, center. I belt it out. I'll give you an example. How many of you woke up in one morning, this I consciously say, you feel like you want to save the world, you want to be in your best emotion, you put your best dread, put a music, made a coffee, and you got out of your house. The first person you saw is a person who's irritating you so much. Did you go on with the first script? Oh, you should have. No, you are saving the world and all bloody hell. Why did you? Why not? You will not able to go because the person who triggered it, you already have an intuitive behavior. You just belted out that. Presented that persona, then got into auto. Auto guy is a friend. Then you created another persona. Then you went to your office. You want to pitch or something. You created another persona. By end of evening 6 o'clock, you would have been performed at least 20 characters. You are all virtually performing. Till your adolescence, people are creating a grand training program they give it to you. You don't need to go to any acting school. You're already trained. What you need is, in a situation, in a context that is not yours, how to apply, how to create this emotion. That's why most people will have a problem. Back to our Ayurveda. So you have Vayu as a concept, and the moment they looked at it, they figured it out. Human emotion is so simple. We are such a simple people. Just because we have all the paraphernalia, we are assuming we are complex. And we created philosophy because that's the only way we can do. See, any of you seen anybody cry? What is our first reaction? If somebody cry, how do we, the common reaction is what? No, you give a bottle of water. That's the first thing you do. You ask for, by doing so, you just say, okay, my social responsibility is done. Now you deal with your sorrows. Okay, that's what that does. So we are not complex. Don't assume we are complex. If we are complex, world will not be in this polarity shit that you and me are sustaining today. Okay, so we are not complex. We are very rudimentary, very much. So don't give self-importance, but whenever we have it. So what they figured it out, there are only two human emotions. Nothing more, nothing less. And both these emotions are not a later acquiring, but rather imprinted in your cellular, molecular sensitivity or sense of emotion. That is called absolute happiness and absolute fear. That's all. Whatever experience, your emotion you are experiencing, that lies between these two spectrum of emotion. Now, where do we got the absolute idea of happiness? That rest of our life we try to recreate by creating social structure, relationships, family, and so on and so forth. Where do you got that idea? Or where the body, not the mind, experience the absolute idea of happiness? Any of you can come up with? I will not ask, my God, I don't have time for this kind of leisure thing. Okay, I'll say, when you are in your mother's womb, everything is taken care, everything is procured, everything is produced. Moment we ejected out of that womb, welcome to the world of fear, where 99% of your activity is dictated by fear. The moment you come out of your mother's womb, it's a lost place, lost protection. We come with a cry as a response. Rest everything. Hey, can you give me that? This is water. Yeah. So there is no water. Now he will turn. Why he turned? If it's a normal situation, here, screw you. Why did he turn? Why did he turn? Because I am hierarchy here. In the knowledge economy, I am the person who's producing. If this reaction he will never do to a third party or a person. But I will do it because certain invisible command, I have it right now. I'm just boosting my own ego. But that's what he turned. So if you look at it, you may not look at it, but if you look at it, 99% of human emotion is controlled by fear. We may not see. And that's a silent killer. Where human beings losing the tool to negotiate because we don't teach. We don't teach. Adding to the misery, now we started, neurobiology will tell you can give 1 or 2 whack to your kids. Latest study. Because all learning is fear. You insulate your kid till 18, insulate so much, then take the kid and drop it and now face the world. Aren't you doing a big disservice to the kid instead of telling the kids, there is fear is there is danger is there is conflict is there. So any insulating parents then don't deserve any kind of appreciation because you're not parenting. It's like sending a soldier with just asking stimulation computer game, put everything and put him in the front line, what will happen? That's what we are doing to our kids. We are insulating them. We are not telling. 99.9% of the world function on fear. A kid goes there without this tool, what are they going to do it? They are depressed. Now one more thing I'll say, it's a very India specific. At least in my generation. Now in our books, in our novels, in our movies, if you look at it, there is a kind of romanticization. All what we want, from Punjab to Kerala to anywhere. That entire generation. What is our motto? One single motto in our novel, every work you will see. How? Money is not going to make it. Money, no. Yes, of course, peace. I need to make, that is not going to make. I may go from one place, I may migrate, I may earn money, but my validation comes when? I go back to my village and build a 2-floor house. May not be now, but that's what an entire generation have validity from where they come from. You look at almost all the classical filmmaking of Kerala. Kerala is like everybody want to go back and build a 3-story building. Now they have a building only. People hardly there. Okay. So from why I said this point, there is a kind of aim is there. A validity. A validity of a village, validity of 10 page. And now you have an entire generation pitted against identities of global identities. I don't need to get a approval from a singular source. I need to get it from a much wider world. And much wider means much wider pressure. You don't teach failure. You are not telling failure is beautiful. And that's why it is in terms of emotion, it's nightmare for a generation to live. And that's why when Gen Z is creating a language, look at it beautifully. They are not creating, they are rebelling. They are rebelling against the status quo. They are creating their own way of communication. That's only happened in World War I, where is a encryption and secret coding of language happened. Gen Z is not creating out of fashion, out of frustration. There is no validity. What to look for? At least my generation, people say, okay, I come to Bombay, I earn my house, I'll go to my village, and I will be said success. Where am I pitting success? So that's a landscape we are here. There is a world that functions on fear in every friend. Okay, so there is happiness, there is fear. That is the two primary emotion. But that is not good enough because there is secondary in between emotions are there. Now, how do I identify? That is where most of the Ayurvedic early studies, from Charaga to Shushruta, they come up with a beautiful analogy, most misunderstood word, and that they said, there is only 8 stories in the world. Nothing more. You're not doing anything more than that. How do you arrive at a conclusion, how you arrive at a resolution may vary. 8 stories, 8 emotions. Or in India, what we say, most misunderstood word called Navarasa. Now, unfortunately, this is done to death, so I will not go anywhere near the Navarasa because it's, instead of telling what it's supposed to tell, it's just made it like an archaic piece, but I uses that word because it's a vast meaning. When I say happiness, is a very reductionary. Okay, so I use this terminology because it's vast, and that's why I uses the word. But the beauty of this Navarasa, any of you are familiar or heard about the word Navarasa? The word terminology, you can hear it. Okay, somebody who is not there, I will explain to it. These are not, an emotion, but these are not linguistic words. We are all assuming all the words are linguistic. They have nothing to do with the linguistic. They are coded breath. If you want to get an emotion, you take a word, repeat it 20 times, your anatomical structure started producing that emotion. For example, the word called hasya. Heard about the word hasya? That means laughter or giggle. All smiles start with giggle. Okay. Now, what is the science of laughing? You have a diaphragm. Diaphragm get tightened. And diaphragm started getting palpitated. The number of fluctuation, fluttering the palpitation do, and that will allow all of us to giggle. Simple as that. Okay, that's how you giggle. Now, if you say this word, hasya, 30 times as fast as possible without taking a break, try to do it. Who want to try it? And already your body is going towards a smile. You understood? So these are not linguistic weed. These are coded breath. So I'll just explain to you this 8 to get you an idea. And possibly one person who's not cried for some time who can come volunteer, and I'll show you how I can manipulate and create make that person cry. Nothing to do with magic, but it's just a pressure point. Okay, that at the end we will do it. So now let's look at the 8 emotions. All 8 emotions are arranged within your mouth structure. There are 3 groups of emotions. That is fundamentally. So what we said so far we said breath is important. Apart from my ego boosting gyan I given, breath is important. There are 2 primary emotions, that is called happiness and fear. And into that there is subcategory, 8 parallel emotions are there. And 8 emotions are arranged within your mouth structure. One is called happy emotion, one is called hard emotion, one is called thought. So we'll take the first set of emotion that is placed on your dental structure, tip of the tongue, and behind the teeth structure. All happy emotions, all happy emotions lingers around your dental structure if you look at it. And to start off with, the first, any happy emotion create a sound of pleasure. Any of you know that? Now, any of you know what the sound you make it in pleasure? Don't be ashamed. Who will make this? Ah. Okay, okay. That sound is, all our aesthetics evolved because we discovered the sound, the taste bud. Okay, the moment human being ventured into cooking the food, evolved the tongue, evolved the taste bud, that inhalation. Now you look at it. You watch the movie and somebody said, how is that movie? Very good movie. Still there is a confusion. But if I say, very good movie, approved. So it's not the linguistic, it's that breath is what making you truthful or not truthful. Particularly in the case when you go home and you somebody dear cooks a food, and if you hear that food, how is that food? And you will say, fabulous food. If you are not creating that sound you will be knowingly or unknowingly peddling it left, right, center. From food to book to read to music to sex to any other place. Now this sound will be accelerated. More culinary practice you have, the more elaborated sound you make it. The lesser the culinary cuisines are, the lesser breath you make it. Ever looked at it from this perspective? So who make the biggest sound in the world? Sound through saliva. Enjoy. These are all told very inadequately, very bad. That's what I told you. Now you need to start giving answers to that. It's not bad. Don't try to control this. Okay, that sound is... You go to Italy and ask anyone. Talk about their culture, talk about their food. They first express through saliva, through the sound. Any culture, any Mediterranean culture, Asian culture, where food is important, you hear this articulated sound. And where you don't hear the sound? Thanks. Pretty much. I'm saying the idea of stiff upper lip came from there. Don't produce the sound. How do you produce the sound if you stiffen it? No, that is stiffen it already. No. Anyway, I'm not generalizedly saying that there is nothing, but I'm saying that cultures, emotion is important because food is what dictated our emotion. The taste bud is what created aesthetics, symmetries, understanding of anything that is beyond utilitarian. And look at food now. You pay more to your garnish than the food itself. You pay to the ambience than the food itself. Okay, so that is happy group of emotion arranged on the lip structure. And then there is a small tongue back called uvula. Any air is capturing that is the seat for all the harder emotion. From anger to sadness to fear. Okay, so let's take it the hard emotion to start with. One emotion you need to be worried, it's the fear. No other emotion you don't need to worry because it can incapacitate you. The first casualty of fear is you will not able to produce any functional chemicals in your body. Moment that comes, within 20 minutes, your spine will not able to stand erect. You will not able to articulate. Your body goes for spasm, space out. You will not able to replenish the respiratory system. Only way you can replenish that breath is, any of you know? By sighing. So go to a hospital. Why everybody sigh? Because nobody can replenish that breath. Everybody is in atmosphere. Even the doctor who's smiling is in fear because unconsciously the patient, the atmosphere is manifesting. You ask any doctor, it's a very depressive space to work. You all have at least a happy place. And you don't need to be manipulated. You don't need to be conscious. You just need to be inside. Within 10 minutes, you get manipulated. Okay, so fear is the one emotion is that we need to worry. But We created two emotions to negotiate that beautiful emotion and misunderstood. And every system, every school, every institution tried to control. One is called retaliation, one is called submission. Anger or cry, both are created to negotiate fear. But then come the gender. These two emotions. So we talk about equality, we talk about parity. How many of us talk about emotional parity? Okay. If I have 8 emotions, and if I can't express or execute that emotion within my space, then there is no point in talking about anything. So let's take retaliation. Okay. Sorry, my demo. What is retaliation? If this is the retaliation. Okay. Right? No, it's okay. It's okay. So how many of you feel you can retaliate like that? A lot of you think that you get angry. I'm not talking about male gender. I'm talking about female gender. And the rest of other marginalized don't even get it because heterosexuals need to give that space. Okay. How many of you feel that you can get angry? You may assume you are angry, but that anger is symbolic in nature. After the retaliation, the cause goes, you goes and whack your doors, slam your CD, slam the door, or get angry with the surrounding people. That's nothing to do. For anatomical body, that is symbolic. That is not a remedy. The fear still stays as it is. Retaliation means you whack me, I whack you. How many places that is allowed for you to do that? I'm talking about the gender, moment gender we bring in, there is hardly any emotions. In average, most places, 60% of Indian women goes with 2 emotion at least 20, 30 years of their life. You're looking at a beautiful emotional landscape. No? I'm telling you, 2 emotions. Whenever work we done it is like a anemia. You think anemia is because of chemical, anemia is because of poverty? No. Most anemic cases unreported is in urban spaces. Not even in rural spaces. Because fear produces anemia. If you are exposed to fear, that's why depressed people look pale. Why they look pale? Because chronically their blood count is already started dropping down. So this is where anger, retaliate, and submission, you cry, you negotiate. Every species does that. My dog, small tiny dog, most of the big dogs comes, it just lie down and negotiate. But someday it feel like it need to attack, it attack. Cat can do it, dog can do it, snake can do it. Only people who can't do this to negotiate fear is us. What a miserable life we are leading. Okay, 2 fundamental emotion and how much you have the space to execute is something you need to rethink or reclaim it. It's not economics. It's not about the parity. It's about emotion. About you, whatever instinctively your body produce, can you execute that? Unless that space is not there, everything is bullshit. Okay, in human endeavor. So you have fear, you have retaliation and submission. That's a very bad tune. I say, put one Led Zeppelin one. That's better. No, I'm just genuinely saying, I like this, don't like metallic, polyphonic ring. One music is always good. Where are we? So you have fear. Fear have 2 retaliatory possibilities. One is anger, one is sadness. Now let's look at fear. I'll just give you a small taste of fear breath. What are the characteristics of fear? So if I saw somebody like this, this is how it is. That's a large scale, destruction, death, something like that. What happened to my face? Mouth opened. What the shape of my mouth is? O. Why O? Two scientific factors, because air can go all the way to uvula. So all of you take your shape of mouth, who want to do it. Try to take a breath, and you will see there is a kind of coldness you feel on the back of your throat where the uvula is. You can take it. Inhale. Now send it back and forth. Keep your mouth open. You felt a slight coolness is there? This coolness is a technique, every species does it. Whenever there is a body temperature rises, they pant in order to bring the body temperature down. It's nothing to do with fear. So, in the time of you actually being in a situation of fear, the temperature can drastically go up. And that's why the technique of fear, you yourself, when you run and come back, why do you pant? To cool down the body temperature. Now, in this condition, you can see that temperature falling down quite drastically into the back of the neck, spondyloid area, to L2, L3, L4. And your script writing brother will write a spine-chilling experience. Absolutely, that's all. Okay, so that breath is what allow you to send it back and forth. Fear is the breath. Okay, now how do we create an anger or to retaliate? Is where all of you, what are the areas that tighten up? What is the first deterrent any species does in order to negotiate fear? What are we told? Never show your teeth. An emotion is complete when you show your teeth. All species can do it. Cat can do it. Snake can do it. Dog can do it. All of them, they show their teeth snarling. What are you told? Don't show the teeth. It's very bad. You within an 8-year-old boy or a girl or any other person, first thing you make it conscious is the teeth and the smile. The most vital human expression is on the teeth. Okay, so first thing is teeth. What is the next thing? A bite on the teeth. Then tighten up here. Then lock your breath. Yeah. So all you need to do is take that fear breath. Close the mouth and bite. Tighten up the neck muscle. Known breath. And just throw the breath like a... That's all you are doing it in your day-to-day life. Okay. That's all anger. Now, you may think it's only in the performance you do it. 80% of the places, what the stimulation I done, you would have done it. By picking up a bucket of water, to running behind a bus, to negotiating people, you will be creating this stimulation. Remember, we're supposed to be under a tree, goes to the meadow, gathering food, fornicate, die down, and that people are sitting in the office 8 hours. Some people is now saying, till you die, work in the office also. That's a new funda. Good for them. Okay, so that's a new... these people are absolutely have no idea about human emotion. It's something that is nobody can control. What are the tools we created to be sane? Rational, reasoning, analytical. At the time of experiencing an intense human emotion, your motor mechanism goes blank. It's after the experiencing that emotion, only you can analyze what happened, why it's happened, not when you are experiencing. If that ability human beings have, we would have been most beautiful people to sit around here without any conflict. Increasingly, that ability to even post-analysis is going for a toast. At least earlier people can analyze after felt an emotion, they said, oh my God, this is what happened, I need to course correct it. Nowadays it's immunity. No need for it. Everybody goes for a hell. Okay, that's it. So fear, anger and sadness, both are individual decides, society don't decide. But unfortunately, your physical emotional reaction is determined by, remember I told you the social places, rhythm, they decide how do you execute this emotion. There itself, your primary negotiation point is in failure. 2 tools you should have been. Okay, so I look at him, one day I look at you, I'll say, bicep, sorry, bicep, I'll walk away. That's called sense. I don't go, hey, like this, and he take a shoe, like you go to Delhi and walking around, did somebody take a traffic, if you are driving, just take a pistol and that's called discretion. In the discretion, you know that. But some places, I need to stand in front of him. That's an emotional survival only happen when I confront. Both the situation is decided by me not the society. Unfortunately, the other way around. So this is the three set of emotion that lies here. Okay, I given you one more time. We will take the fear. Take the fear intake. Hold it. Bite the teeth. Tighten up the neck muscle and snow a little bit of. Okay. Now what we do is what every metalhead does it. We throw. So one of the studies says we throw. Last one is abuses. No, the throw, abuses. Abuse is a very important factor. Of course, there is a gender problem. There also a gender problem because 80% of the word what men calls and women don't have a urban woman, not the woman in village. They have beautiful words that can make a man's virality goes for a toss for within a second. But urban spaces you don't have. The man and point of anglicized education is I'll say. I can use this politically incorrect word. This is okay? Okay? All your approval, okay? Tomorrow you will all vouch for me, okay? So, the most commonly used word is fuck you. I'll say when? It's not even a deterrent. Okay? But what is abuse? One, before linguistics evolved, every species' second deterrent is hissing, growling. Cat can do it. Dog can do it. They can all growl and show their displeasure. We can't. Miserable life. Emotionally, I'm saying. We can't even growl, we can't hiss because these are all inappropriate. Who decides this is inappropriation? Ask this question. So culture is beautiful, but culture also can control you without you knowing your emotionality and so on and so forth. Okay? So, the one research say, most people in the world is, anybody attend a heavy metal concert? Because they throw so much, they go as like the most peaceful people in the world. They don't create any ruckus. They're very happy after like a 1 hour of going on. And if you go to Megadeth or something, you will understand that. Right. So back to our ideas. So we have three emotions, and the one is fear, one is anger, the last one is cry. That I will show with one person, and then you will understand. Now we'll come to the middle emotion, called thought. So there is technically Indian words for that. Bhaya is fear, Karuna is sadness, and Raudra is anger. Now just intonate this word, Raudra, and see which muscles tightens up. Raudra. And you'll see the entire anatomical structure is tightening. That's what I'm saying. These are like if Dan Brown is in Indian, he would have written a novel and made millions. These are coded words, beautiful. And you need to understand India, all ancient knowledge system allow to sustain because they just inserted a ritual behind that. So that next generation will, so you remove the generation, the ritual and look at it and you'll see beautiful knowledge system lurking there that may not be, West may not able to give that. That is one way I can produce it with all the, or what you needed, or what the world is needed. That saturation is not, that emotional saturation is already happening. Okay. Now the middle word is called jugupsa. Just say that word. Jugupsa. What is, anyone have any clue about this word? This is the most, all third dancer in this world is made this emotion into an unscientific emotion. What is jugupsa? No, nothing. And that's the misconception. That's what I'm going to break it. Jugupsa means thought. Your thinking faculty. Say jugupsa, jugupsa. And where is the friction happening? The middle of the tongue touching the upper palate. Now look like a very innocent, small performative technique. But if that is not happening in your anatomical body, you can go to Ivy College or wherever, you will not able to create any independent thought. You can be the most learned person, but if that tongue is not touching the upper palate, you will not able to think. So I'll give you an exercise. Think about something. Anything that happened yesterday, today, tomorrow. Done? Now what I want is to, now look at your tongue where it is touching when you're thinking. Now drop your tongue like this. Now think about the same thing. It has the same intensity or it is fracturing. It's slipping away or wobbly. So, something that you just created, I'm saying the fallibility of recalling business, I'm just giving you. There itself, I need to always tell. There is, sorry, 2 minutes I'm deviating. Remind me where we are when we come back. Emotion itself, we are like such a screwed up people. Like there is classical romanticism, we peddle transformative actors. Actors getting into the role and not able to come out of 2 days, 3 days, 1 month. You heard all these romantic stories, no? Okay. So you heard anybody who's done a comedy play or a comedy movie and said, I can't get out of this character. Now I'm going to spread humor to the rest of the world. Or somebody done. And you tell everybody, you like even roadside person, you say, be happy. Okay. Then there is somebody done a love story and a romantic role, and he said, I'm in love with my world. I want to love everybody. You heard anybody say it? No. You said you will never hear that spectrum emotion because you only hear fear, anger, and sadness. This is the most easily gaslightable emotion. You close your window, switch off all the lights, smoke 1 or 2, and say, I'm screwed for 10 times, and you are screwed. Nothing to do with the transformativeness in that. So I'm disputing from my point of view when I'll study anatomy, any performer dream of that. Transformation is when you find out what is the quantity of breath, what breath dictate a character's emotion and trajectory. Just adding into that, I'll give one example to go back to that. How complex that emotion is. A word, take it, jealous. You heard this word, no? Okay. How many emotions are there? What is the primary emotion of jealousy? Sorry, water only. I will come back. I'm saying we have such a misconception on emotion. We are storytellers, but we are stuck in a milieu of, we are just like somebody told, I understood, I'm continuing. Not investigating. How can we tell story? At the end of the day, I don't care what you used, Ari or Red or I don't care. I as a spectator only care who is translating that emotion. That is the actor. And in this industry, particularly industry, are we investing in that? Are we creating the backbone of actors who's trained that rest of the world? Look at Korean industry. How much investment in actor training and everything in public places they created it. Anyway, that's not the question. Jealous. Absolutely. 80% of the emotion is love and desire. So any actor is showing something that is third party calling. The person who's sitting, affected person, don't have a jealous. I, the third party, looking at the first party, placing in a context and say, that person is jealous. The person who's sitting is in love, or in desire, or in negation, that is pain, or in anger. You understand? This possibility only come when you understand this palette. So when I talked about 8 emotion, they are palette. Palette don't create artistry. Palette is then how do you mix and match. That's the next session when we, last I will explain about composing a character means how it is come. So one human emotion, we tend to take jealous means we have already archetypal emotions are there. Already public domain, this should be like that. And all our creators, all our performance do the same permutation of emotion. Don't look at the complexity. When I am jealous, I want something and it negated, it gives me pain. That means residue of my love never goes from my eyes. So in a jealous person, I need to see the desire and love in the eyes and the rest of the emotion in the rest of the muscle structure. If I don't produce it, it's a cardboard version. That is already I'm not interested. You need to understand, your primary consumer sit with the data. 300 rupees, he will buy a Reliance and Geo data and he says, I have a content control. If I don't like it, I can swipe it. Don't create something that is, I don't want it. That's the kind of world we are looking at. We need to create emotion that is connectable. So back to Jugupsa. Thinking. Now, any of you know what is the one of the worst ancient punishment is? Kalapanino. Tell, cutting the tongue. Now, what is cutting the tongue means? We always thought that it's about speech. It's about thought. Once I cut the tongue, within 6 months, you will only able to listen to commands. You will have no independent thought of yours. That's why literature say a society is tongue-tied means the centric position, the independent thought position is gone for a toss. You will only listen to commands. Pretty much very deja vu moment, no? Okay, deja vu happens. Right. So, that is what tongue-tied is. This is one of the most important emotion. 80% of our life, even when you are listening to me, look at where your tongue is touching. If that tongue is not touching, you will not able to listen. Now you understand why your teacher hated you after post-lunch sessions like this and class when you sat like this and the teacher throw the duster. Okay. Adding into that, there is one more thing is needed in this one called rhythm. All thought is able to listen in this emotion with tongue touching followed by you need to produce a rhythm structure. How do you produce that rhythm structure? Some are very good in that, like a djembe practice in the first session. Now eventually it's going. You're all producing a rhythm in order to understand what I am speaking. How do you produce that rhythm structure? That's a different subject, but I'll give you a glimpse of it. Both these things not come together, you will not able to understand anything, because a thought is produced as a wave that is captured by the membranes, decoded with the visuals and their experientiality. It's not a simple process as you think. In that, if the waves need to be captured properly by the membrane, you need to have rhythm. And that rhythm need to be created by the listener. Any of you are all doing it. And that's called nodding. Why do you nod? You are dividing my thought process into equal pattern. In that there is a two more. Extension is there, then I'll go to the next emotion. Called gesture. There are, gesture means in our performance we want to put gesture left, right, center, anywhere. But science will tell you there are two kinds of gesture. One is called slash gesture. One is called iconic gesture. In a paragraph, maybe one place I say, hey, that is a window. Okay, that's all. Rest is called slashing. So I can speak a sentence with this many slashes or half of it. I can speak a sentence with this many slashes or half of it. I can speak a sentence with this many slashes or half of it. I can speak a sentence with this many slashes, or I can speak a sentence with this many slashes. So the idea of hand gesture is to create the rhythm. The more you are animated, more you will be able to communicate the ideas you want to. The lesser. And that's one of the problems, if you can look at it. If you spoke English and you spoke your native language. If you spoke, the moment you perform in English, immediately you will see your ability to animate is half. And the same thing if you translate to Hindi, Kannada, Tamil or Kongani, you will see your body is creating much more. Because we know the language, you may be third generation, fourth generation, but still you have no clue about a geo-specific gestural pattern of that language where it is evolved and practitioners are there. Okay, so Jugupsa is something that is most important. That's what create thought process. Now we come to our happy emotion. Shringara, the happiest emotion. Okay, any idea? When is the last time you are happy? When did you cry last? When did you got angry? Last 1 month. But when do you become happy? The in ratio, comparative ratio? Boosting me. My ego is went up. It's not going to come down. Okay, let's decode Shringara. Why I again using that terminology? Because happiness is a very reductionary word. Then I need hundreds of other words. And English, one of the problem, 80% of the words, it's not its own. Then I need to go to the Latin etymology, Greek etymology. By the time I finish it, it will be disaster. So I'll stick with Shringara. Now, Shringara is a huge, vast emotion. Okay. It have three sections, not hierarchically, not value system. It's just one leads to the other. Shringara is the most beautiful emotion. It is inclusive. It is hybrid. It accommodates differences. Keep these three words in your mind, okay? Right. So let's look at it. The first layer of Shringara is accessibility in four constructs. One is called greed. One is called desire, gluttony, and lust. Greed, desire, gluttony, and lust. Four construction that is most controlled, most signified in the world, irrespective of where you are. It written sin behind all this word. It's indulgence. But this is what gives vitality for human functionality. In India, all four together, we have one single word. Any of you knows? Hey, we even have a God for that, yaar. Karma. What is karma? The life-giving force. You need to love your greed. You need to love your desire. We need to love our gluttony. We need to love our lust. Okay? That is what karma is. Once you are there, the next stage is called Veera Shringara. That is, Veera is an idea I'm saying. Again, we will decode it later. This is where, once you enjoy it personally, you go to the next level of emotion. That's where you appreciate. You don't need to have ownership. When I see a waterfall, when I hear an artwork, when I hear a music, sensorially, I appreciate and I feel that elevated self. That also fast look vanishing in this world. So you can see a waterfall, I goes there. I may be in Veera and say, what a beautiful waterfall. Every droplet that forcing on my face, I feel such a good feeling. Then my friend went there and said, oh, what a beautiful waterfall. If I get this land, I can build 4 flat here, and I can give it to Airbnb. This is two perception. Two perception of world. One, allow that earlier state, earlier one for a larger sharing. Allow that to exist. But 80% of the world functions on the second idea. So Veera is something that's, I'll say, blue cheese theorem. Now, one way, this may be controversial, all art is hierarchical. It's not democratic. Any of you believe art is democratic? Please. Eh? Then you need to define democracy. That is majority. Majority say Bahubali is the best movie. What will the art-making movie people will do? So this definition always have a very funny side when you define. Okay, for that matter, any film festival is not going to give an award for a romantic movie or a happy movie. And then we will tell everybody to be happy. There's a dichotomy. There is a kind of double standard in that. So you start looking at emotion. It's about we need to reinforce the emotion, train people, because you are staring at something that is, after a point, none of the system will be able to. You will not see silently dying people. System will not see it. That's a tragedy of it. So depression kills more people is not something that I don't need to tell. All of you knows that. It's not even any kind of sickness on that. So the Veera Shringara allow you to appreciate. It's about blue cheese. Any of you, first take of that blue cheese, you may not like it, but you need to cultivate it. All art is like that. All literature is like that. Anything that is human being created is consumed by hierarchically section of people. But we don't want to admit it. We want to be all say that we are changing the world. Good for you. But I don't believe that. So, the Veera Shringara actually properly cultivated have the ability to appreciate and create beauty around it. And it don't need to have a ownership. The last one is called Bhakti Sringara, mean surrender. Now, again, this is a misconcepted word. Surrender doesn't mean that it don't need to be religious. It can be political. It can be creative. It can be anything. If nothing is there, just simply staring into the air also can create bhakti. You don't need to be utilitarian. It's not about a complaint book you're writing. It's about one's own dialogue to oneself. That's what the notions of bhakti is all about. Surrendering to an idea and live for that. That's pretty much all of us are doing it. Okay, but the idea is that it don't need to be a section of an idea. It can be defined. And that's why this notions of Sisyphus, in Greek myth of Sisyphus, if any of you, or in Kerala folklore, Narayanatha Brandhan is this guy who pushed the rock all the way to the mountain. And once you reach at the sunset, he just dropped it. He's the happiest person. Now, these stories are created so that just calling you the fallacy of definition of bhakti. Now, this three construction most beautifully done it is in Indian architecture. Ancient, I'll say ancient temple architecture. You have Kama, you have Veera, you have Bhakti. How did they able to do it? Any of you know, any of you seen any of the ancient temples? What is the first pragara you see? Eh? The Shilapalikas have a nature. It's absolute erotic panels. And in that erotic panel, every orientation is accommodated. It's not just a heterosexual entity alone. It's a very hybrid, inclusive space. Every permutation is allowed to exist. You watch, dopamine is pumped, all the chemical is pumped, you go there. The next is carvings. Large scale of ornamentation carving allow you to reach the Veera Sringara. Finally, what is where the deity is? What is it called? Garbhagriha. What is Garbhagriha? It's a womb because in also like Yajnavalkya, before Descartes and Kant come into picture, there is a philosopher called Yajnavalkya and there is Maitreyi. Okay, there is a woman philosopher and they have Gargi and Maitreyi is the. Gargi is the one with the Yajnavalkya. They are so say God is immeasurable. We are mortals, so let's don't give a form to the God. Let's talk about infinity, Brahman. So that's why conceptually the inner place is kept it dark because infinity, the notions of infinity. So I'm saying this concept is beautifully arranged it in ancient architecture and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is what called Sringara is from Kama to Veera to Bhakti. Now my controversial statement. Without Kama, you will not reach Bhakti. Yeah. Any places you see, you cut the Kama and you will see predators left, right, center. Okay, you look at it, institution. Kama is the life-giving force. That's what allow you to go towards Bhakti. You can't take the step from Kama in order to reach Bhakti, if you look at it that way. Okay. Now we'll go to three sub-emotion that comes, Veera and Shringa. Veera, Hasya and Adbhuta. Veera means absolute self-confidence. Hasya means laughter. Adbhuta means Vismaya, wonder. Okay. Veera. When you Veera means what are the characters comes into your mind? Warriors, kings, queens. No? These are the characters comes into your mind. Na? Now, none of them are, unfortunately, in Veera. They are all in perpetual fear. Who is going to destabilize them? Nobody knows. Who is going to do a kudita? Nobody knows. Who is going to make the regime? And all the pictures you are refer in war. Okay, where heightened cortisol level is pumped into every body to even kill each other. Unless that level of cortisol is not produced, nobody is going to kill any other person. It's a max, pro max of cortisol level. So, are they in Veera? No, they are not in Veera. So that means we need to enjoy Veera. Do we enjoy Veera? Absolute self-confidence, yes, in smaller quantities. So my example I always give is, once in a blue moon, you tidy up your rooms, no? All the dresses and everything, that Sunday morning, you take a chai or anything, everything arranged. At the end, once you arrange, how do you look at your room? You don't look. You look with the physicality, that is called aha. Okay. That physicality is not happening, you will not experience that emotion. And it's not a larger quantity, it's a smaller quantity, one's own body enjoy this emotion. This arching of the spine. Now, most of the people then realize, all my problem I can camouflage. My fear, my anger, I can camouflage by putting this structure. So I'll give you an example in happiness. I know it's quite a long, I come is closest to me. So look at my eyes. I'm in happiness, followed by feeling confident. Second one is a camouflaging. Look at my eyes. First one is with the happiness. That is the first one. Now I'm perpetually frightened, but I need to tell my constituency I'm in control. That's why chest analysis comes. See? What is in my eyes? You will never see a tenderness. So anybody talk about I'm confident, unless I don't show the tenderness, means they are perpetually in fear. Understood? That is what the emotion, Veera, our own small accomplishment. Our own, it don't need to be large scale. You don't need to go war for that. Just tidying up a room, cooking a food, making your own music. You don't need to produce it. Or taking a guitar and after 1 year finding, after C ke saath D hai. That's a discovery. You don't need to create music. But that discovery is your own. That movement is your own. The problem is, we want to produce everything into a marketable entity. Discoveries are not like that. That's one of the modern science's biggest problem is, everything is a marketing technique. Every discovery is not discoveries anymore. It's need to reach a state of production and product and consumer. Allow people to consume. So Veera means a small quantities of absolute confidence. And it's very, very vital for human survival. Okay, don't look at the larger thing. Don't look at utilitarian ones. Smaller things if you can. That's why they say, just paint, just read, just do. Of course, the remedies are all lies in the art, unfortunately. Nobody tell you, go and weld. You can do that also. Some people do. Okay, TIG welding or MIG welding is the question. Right. So that is Veera for you. Next one is called Hasya. This is one category of people are in peril. Nobody like Hasya people nowadays. What's the idea of Hasya? Why do we laugh? Now, I don't mean we laugh like my friend cracked a bad joke and as a camaraderie I laugh. What did you say? I'm not talking about that. A laughter, you feel, you will clutch your ribcage. And after a point, you don't care who you are, where you are. Remove the shoes here. I'm able to roll on this floor. I don't care who you or what you think about me. We are all lives in a transactional emotion where we wear layers of personas. Okay. After a point, you start believing that's the real you. You transform into that persona, create everything, but subsequent emotion, you will not able to negotiate. Ancient time onwards, people realized that the only way to do is to laugh. That uncontrollable laughter where you don't care how you are perceived in public domain. Even the king understood that. That's why king kept a vidushak in its court, a court gesture in the court, and given them the license to critique the king. Not now. Nowadays, or anywhere king is criticized, king will go for a toss. Or a comedian will go for a toss. So, laughter is an emotion everybody understood that is the most vital. The collective, The joint collective we lived in had the much more scope for this laughter compared to a dysfunctional father, mother, daughter, son scenario we are all living in. Where adding into our misery, the phones, the social media, and independent space is not creating. I remember my childhood, because we lives in a joint family. By 6 o'clock, somebody will bring a harmonium. All our art practices, we done it in family, with family only. There is 20 people will be there in audience. So you start thinking, your stimulative place, now what can I create? Because your cousin will be doing a good performance yesterday. So you start thinking about visual images, your ideas, and that is the space is also vanishing. So Hasya is the only way. Create a space where 10 people can gather and without any extra influences, you can stimulate the laughter. And that's what the importance of laughter. Now, last emotion in this is called Adbhuta, or that is wonder. It's a beautiful emotion. It's an emotion that is like once in a blue moon only this emotion happens. Okay, what is this emotion? Adbhuta. Magical is need to be. The space need to be magical. Vismaya. So suddenly somebody comes say, this is my Ferrari, take it. That drastic is needed. Or somebody come to Adishakti, hey, I will take care of Adishakti next five years. Okay, you do your creative work. May happen. Once in a blue moon, once in twice, it happens. But if it is not there, this is where one of the human endeavor, one of the most problematic idea came, called identity. So I'll give you one small example to that. Your name is? Meenakshi. Meenakshi and Meenu, both of us love architecture. We went to see Taj Mahal. Everything is happening fantastic. Meenakshi is taking notes also, taking snaps also for Instagram. I take my selfies for Instagram. And then we are waiting. Suddenly somebody from Taj Mahal came and given an old papyrus roll and told Meenakshi, Meenakshi, Taj Mahal, we are waiting for last 2 centuries. Taj Mahal is yours. Now, what will happen to Meenakshi? Meenakshi is euphoric. She will be like jumping around, laughing. Some German tourists will say, go away, this is my Taj Mahal. And all that is happening. Now, question is not Meenakshi. Question not me. Ideally, what should I do? Meenakshi, I'm so happy for you. And walk away. That never going to happen. So, first one is, my mild jealous, I say, oh shit. Why her? I even done a 2-hour talk here. She just sat there. She got the Taj Mahal. That's my first one. That is a milder sadness-based my interaction. Second one is a proaction. After top of that sadness, an anger comes and I say, if I don't have it, she should also not have it. Okay, then I'll write to people and say that you don't have Aadhaar card and all that. I will write it down. And you need to now screwed you are. Okay, so that's my proaction to her. There where I complete the jealousy. Still, I'm not able to get her Adbhuta. She is in that euphoria. This is where we create identities and subscribe the identities. You start from a very close identity to the larger ideas of identity. So if Meenakshi is my sister, I'll say, oh, my sister Meenakshi got it. Band bajao. If it is not Meenakshi, is my cousin Meenakshi. If it is not the Meenakshi is from the same flat, ask 4th floor girl got it, ban bajao. If it is not if Meenakshi is from the same street, I will be in euphoria. If Meenakshi is from the same village, I will be. Same linguistic group, I will be. Same caste, I will be. Same political point of view, I will. We subscribe to idea, we will not survive if we don't subscribe to this multiple idea because it's not an emotion, self-generatable. Now the problem with that is, this emotion is we pretend that we are reaching bhakti. Now, how do you reach bhakti? In the bhakti, you say, I don't believe, I hate you, and what you believe, you will say, doesn't matter. That's you have the, like Voltaire said, yes, for you to say that and to defend that, I will do whatever I want to do it. That is bhakti. But in Adbhuta, what happened? Once you subscribe to the idea, you will say, is my necessity for example, I'm a Shah Rukh Khan fan. Okay. So when Shah Rukh Khan sit on that Rolls Royce and his soft ass is sitting on the leather chair, it's my ass is sitting there. So now Shah Rukh Khan's survival is More than Shah Rukh Khan itself, it's my necessity. That's the only way in my miserable life I can create a dots of Vismaya on the release date. So don't underestimate when these people comes and do it, that miserable is the life. Where this particular emotion, you will never able to encounter it unless drastically it's happened. That's why when you touch Shah Rukh Khan, I become violent. There is no dialogue. I'll kill you. Or in that matter, any ideological subscription you do it, why people become violent? Because they are not part of it. They subscribed it. By doing so, they are collecting a euphoria from that existing excess. This is one of the most dangerous emotion because we don't recognize. We think that we are in euphoria, but it's not our euphoria. And that is creating havoc. Just to check it out, just write something on the Facebook and wait. Or Instagram for the comment session. Then you will understand. So I'm saying this emotion is making the entire social fabric is tearing down because the positions of center is fast vanishing. I'm putting on a gunpoint saying either you are on this polarity or you are on this polarity. In between space is fast vanishing. And Adbhuta is an emotion, subscription of an identity is something that is like in full flown. Okay. So don't we get this emotion in plenitude? Yes, we do. The only time when you get this emotion in plenitude is when you make babies. That 4 years of rearing period where every parents, when they look at their child, the oxytocin, the chemical rush, and this, that is the period. Of course, human beings are the already people who try to milk it till your child is 20 years, 25 years, sometimes even 50 years, they expect that dopamine pumping, and kids will not able to provide. That's called generational fight. But that is the time you get plenty of this emotional understanding in Adbhuta. Okay. So these are our spectrum of emotion. There is 8 emotions. Okay. 8 emotions are a palette. A palette, once you got it, I have 5 more minutes, no. Once you get the palette, it's all about how then you construct a character. How do this palette is mixed and matched in every scenario. So, for example, I will say, what is the difference between sympathy and empathy? Last of my word too. Then I'll show you how this arrangement is happening. Once you get the palette, you are like a musician. 7 note can create millions of music. Similarly, this 8 emotion can create millions of permutation. That's what makes the life complex or emotion complex. Now let's look at sympathy. What is sympathy? Okay. But what is empathy? Okay, I'll give you one small tuck example because 5 more minutes only. Sympathy is empathy is very simple. I'll give you one story scenario. Remember, you are going, evening is Saturday today, your friend's house party, you got one bottle of wine and 1 whiskey and you are going and you think today is going to be a great day you are going to enjoy. You went there, knocked on the door, already the couple inside that house, your friends, massively fought and everything in screwed up condition. You enter, you looked at them, then you say, I'm going, and walked away. That's the scenario. Now, what is the emotional arrangement in sympathy? I went with a happiness party. I went there, then I have the first intervention in that what will happen in terms of emotion. I just spoke about 8 emotion. Okay, you yourself can arrange it. What will be the first one? Rupture to my happiness. Thought. I need to think, oh my God, what happened? That thought is what allow you to go to the next emotion. Now in performance, you think that monochromatic emotion, A and B and C is what performance. No, that everybody knows in public domain. It's about how do you travel from A to B. That's what I am interested. That's what each performance need to bring it alive. If you just producing A, followed by B, followed by C, it's already there. That transition is all depending on this jugupsa or thought we are putting. I'll give you one small example. Okay. So I'm saying I saw someone in fear and then I smiled. Okay. So this two emotion without transition. So first emotion. I smile in a rough structure. Now, you perceive that is two emotion without an interconnection. Now, the interconnecting agent is the jugupsa. Now, I'm going to apply the jugupsa and see that is closing the mouth and tongue is touching. See? What makes that emotion truthful is the in-between thought. That transition I produce, that is jugupsa. That is what make one emotion to another emotion alive. And our concept, the transition is not that we jump from one emotion to another emotion like a monkey is on the branch. That's why jugupsa become a very important emotion. Even in your life, 80% of the day you will be spending on that. Okay, sympathy, back to sympathy. So here what happened, I went in happiness. I got a thought, there is a fight is happening. There is a fear is lurking in that room. Now, I will also be affected by that fear. But what quantity? Do I take the same quantity that is in the room? You will not. You will only take a reference point because you don't want to get involved. There is parties in other friends' places also. You take a reference point. Now next point is what? Logically, when you arrange the motion. What do you want to do? Saturday you are gunning for, you are going out for a party. You don't want to get screwed with somebody else's emotion. That is called protecting yourself. You put a Veera structure. Now, you need to tell your friend you are with that person. So you put the worst cry mask and you say, it will be like this. Thought, fear, protection, cry mask. Oh my God, what happened? Oh shit, he should not have done that. Baby, I'm coming. Okay, I just need to drop this whiskey. One is for you, one is for him. I will come back. We will deal it. Oh my God, tell me what happened. And that irritates the shit out of you. Because the last thing you want to is repeat that entire happening. So this is where I scratch you, you scratch me. It have nothing to do. It's just a word play and muscular play. That's why we hate sympathy. Now, empathy. What will happen to empathy? Same structure. Happiness, thought, fear. Now the difference is in the fear. Do you take a reference fear? You will take the equivalent of the fear of the affected party. Now what? One more thought, because you're thinking now what to do. Now next emotion is the most crucial emotion. Any of you can guess what will be the next emotion? It's the most unlikely emotion. That's why I say we need to rethink human emotion. Absolutely. Last emotion will be anger. In fact, like a full-blown anger, you'll say, hey, Meenakshi, why are you sitting like this? Come on, let's get out. Who told you to put off this light? Okay, put on the light. Come on, we are going out. The person who is empathetic always have a plan B. That person will fight with you, scold you. Why? Scientifically, why they are fighting with you? Your mother, when you go home, you hate her, no? No. Because your breath pattern don't have a replenishment. Moment is ma, I know, means your breath pattern is changing. The moment you even started off a fight means you have an escape route. Maybe it goes back, but that people will be keep doing it in order to get you out. That's why there is a word, Bandhu Janadi Mitranam. These are the 4 people who will stand with you. They have a stake. They will be pumping you, egging you day in and after. You need to understand, from a happy emotion to slip into a darker emotion, take half a second. Going from a darker emotion to happy emotion, it can take from day to month, maybe rest of your life. That is the difficulty in order to get it. And that's why this kind of people, they may scold you. The technique of that scolding, once you fight with them, you kicked out the fear breathing pattern. And then you can start inhaling the breath in a different way. Okay, so that's what the idea is. So when I'm saying empathetic, when I perform, I need to layer all these 4 emotions. So any given point, Human being carry 4 or more emotion, not what you see outside. That's the last mile. So in this case, I have a palpable Shringara that is staying there, and a thought, and a massive fear, and a thought, and a camouflaging, and anger. Then I say, come on, get up. We are going for a movie. Come on, why are you sitting like this? I don't want to see you like that. Come on. When I say that, it's not anger. You can see the love, you can see the stake, and you can see the anger as a proaction to get you out of your rut. Okay, so that's what, once you get the palette, what you do is arrangement, constantly look at it. Very simple logic only. This two spectrum, if you understand, you can arrange any character emotion within 5 minutes is the maximum I give it. That's easy because it's very easy. All character complexity comes within this logical argument. There is nothing like a super complexity is there in the characters, and it's, but maybe as a muscular practice, you maybe need to more time to train and acquire whatever you need to execute in this body. That's a 1.5 hour what I done a marathon one. I never done it like this. The first time I done my leisurely only. So hope that is some way to look at emotion, another way to look at emotion just added. These are last mile plugin. You can do it with the Stanislavski, Mayhol. And one thanks I need to tell NFDC and IFFI look like a jiffy, IFFI. Okay, so because you need to understand the first time a theater practitioner, so theater idiom is coming into the discourse in performance, and there is the perpetual question, film acting and theater acting. So that myth I need to, 80% of school of thought and performance practice is created by theater people. Cinema people don't have a time to get out of the caravan and the process. So it's very important for theater to come into the picture. All right. Yeah, part of the question answer, I'll call one person. So that's my thank you so much for this opportunity for me and the other practitioners of theater to come and present a divergent viewpoint here in the coming festival. Thank you to all the organizers. Thank you everybody for coming here. We will open for 50 minutes of question. Yeah. The cry. So one person can volunteer? Okay. When did the last time you cried? Okay, just come. I'm just going to show you how cry in biomechanics, we make it in our day-to-day life. Okay, come. Come, sit. Sit here. When is the last time you cried?
Maybe
So the first.
before coming here.
Okay. Oh, then what is the point?
Before coming here to IFFI 3 days ago.
Okay. Good. Anyway, I'll use it like that. So what you need to understand, this is called cry line. This is your emotional muscle. If that muscle is not active, you can kiss goodbye to anything. You may feel you are crying, but actually you are doing a disservice to your body, because crying means all paraphernalia, all external release. It's a gas release mechanism. If you keep your face blank and tear comes, what's the point? A lot of you cry like that, no? No? A lot of you blank space and cry. No. For that matter, best cry performance and best anger performance you will see when you get constipated. Okay. Yeah, that is one person only. Time is, they will kill me. There are, okay. So now this muscle, I'm just going to start with an exercise for him is, when you are 8-year-old, how did you cry? That so you want something badly from your parents. How do you cry? Mummy unda, just go. Cry. This is good. This is at least, I'm saying cliche have much more truth. At least it will tell the heading. Some performance I'm looking at a microscope. What the hell is happening? At least it tells you heading is cry. Good. We are keeping. Now I'm going to train him a little bit in the muscular exercise. Cry, when I say freeze, just freeze. Okay. Don't take a breath in. Don't release the breath. Every cry is a mini strangulation. You are strangulating yourself. You are cutting off all oxygen supply. That's why you get screwed up after a cry. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. Take a breath. Take a cry, full mask cry. Freeze. Freeze with all the stretches. Stretch it. He's not cried. He's not cried. He start with a cry, and within 20 seconds, he will put anger as his negotiation tool. You see the twitching. That's not there in practice. Open your eyes. Okay, one more time. Cry mask. Cry. Freeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Got the point? Now I'm going to stimulate it. I'm putting 3 pressure points for him to cry. Take a breath like this. Close the mouth. Now I'm first creating the strangulating effect on the body. You will not die. Okay. Okay. Do you play games? What sort of game you play? PS3, PS4? No? You type fast? Okay. Now, one of the problem what we face is called erratic click. Anybody uses the thumb is losing their inner rhythm. Because you always need a surface to click. When the surface is not there, the entire body goes like this, vampire modi. Then followed by that, it kills the people's inherent rhythm to execute out. A lot of time, you start off something and it's not developing anywhere. You need to understand, you may kill it. Any person playing PS4, PS5 and playing FIFA, 100%. Okay? Right. So keep the thumb finger inside to get the rhythm. Thumb finger inside. Hold it. Take the IFFI breath like this. No, like that. Okay. Close the mouth. I'm going to manipulate his shape. He's still in strangulation. Allow me to do it. Don't take a breath. Squeeze here. Squeeze. Eyebrows. Look at it. Now say. keep releasing continuously. 15 count. Keep releasing. Now body goes into the spasm and you are on the cry. It's a multi-level business here. I'm just doing. Now I do some gyan and give it. Think about it. My child, you cry. Think about it. So I'm just in Kachali, I'm saying, moment you strangulate the body, you create the mass and you pressurize this place particularly, you get the cry. Now this much. Yeah. So just because we don't have a time, I need to just show you an energy. And that's why this area become very important because it's very sensitive, cultivated. Any questions I can answer it in 5 minutes.
First of all, thank you so much for this session, sir. This is kind of a third workshop I'm attending for a third class, and this was mesmerizing, really. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, but in the class you said nodding is also a kind of observation, like...
No, nodding is rhythm. Because you have a fundamental rhythm, that's not yours. It's already pumped into your body. You know how? Because there is a concept again when we come to rhythm called 4-beat structure. That is what the advantage and every creative artist nightmare, because all our effort in cinema, theater, music is how to break that 4-beat structure. So anybody making any artwork on 4-beat structure, you can kiss goodbye that. Nobody's going to watch it. So that 4-beat is created by your body, by your mother. When you are an infant, tapping. So 4-beat structure is already pumped into your body. That's why anywhere in the world, if you take lullaby, this meter is not going to change. That 4-beat is pumped into your body. And in order to understand any meaning, any conversation, the sharper the nodding. So some speakers say, that is also rhythmizing it.
Okay. Yeah, but I noticed like more of Asians are nodding more than the people who are on the West.
Nothing like that. Okay. I'm saying there is culturally, there is nothing. It's a human, like blood have a color, emotion is same. There is culture is a rudimentally telling you can do this here, you can do that. That's all.
Okay.
It's not human capacity.
Okay.
Human capacity, that's what I'm saying. Emotional is not cultural.
Okay.
So that cultural happen is you take a 6-year boy from here or a girl and from the West and ask them to take a behavior, everything will be the same.
Okay.
Their cry, their need, everything will be the same. So it's not culture specific. That's what I was saying.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sir, we have something called Navarasas.
Okay, I'll just answer and come. Okay, yeah. This research I'm saying is like when I say it, it's like all in the platter. But when we are doing a research, because I studied in a drama school, my primary training is in European theater. And after reaching certain point, I felt that the system is not working. So I need to invest in looking at mathematics to neurobiology to divergent books to start seeing the connection. And once you start looking at this material, you'll see a connection that is much more cohesive than what the book is giving it. And something like memory and recalling is something that is very, very problematic in terms because you're gaslighting yourself. You want to be in love with your performance when you're 60 or 70. No? You don't want to OD it and die it at 40s and you are in permanent depression and eating Prozac. That's not what you're looking at. Your performance should give it. Okay, and there are actors coming with in their 70s do kick-ass roles, kick-ass transition. So that's what the beauty is. So a lot of books I can explain, but maybe not be coming into this purview. I say anything that is not art, read it. That's what my advice is.
So
Because art per se may not have that much input to give you, but mathematics can. Okay, science can, quantum physics can. Okay, jazz can. Like any actor that's not studying jazz means that you are virtually lacking 20 years. Because that's what the complex mechanics, layering. Or study Bach. If you don't know, if you know how to do, if you understand fugue, and I'll give you one example. If you understand fugue, you will know how to compose characters. And if you go to listen to Ocean's 11, how actors speak in crooning every track in Ocean's 11. Because David Holmes' pieces are already established. So if you look at Brad Pitt, everybody is talking. They're not speaking. They're crooning. So once you put a headphone, listen to track, particularly Rubin, the track of Rubin, if you listen, they're not speaking, they're singing. It looked like dialogue to us, but everything arranged to an existing jazz piece. So I'm saying my advice is open up, art book. I stopped doing reading a long time ago. Not because I don't like art, but I'm saying I need to branch out on my own search. That's all.
So, thank you. Firstly, thank you for the enlightening session. From the past 3 years of IFFI, this is one of the best sessions
my
I have
ego's-
actually got. So much of emotional confidence and enlightening. But my quick question is, I've always tried something called Navarasas of acting on camera, right? Like basically putting on the camera and trying to record myself. And the other way around is basically getting on a stage and performing Navarasas. But when I try to do two different acts of this, whenever I put on a camera right in front of me and try to do that, I can't be the natural actor. But I will be the natural actor only when I am on the stage and I see the audience. Can I know the reason behind this, which is psychological?
So just explain there is nothing called natural actor. Okay, it's all emotion. That's what I'm trying to tell is it's all human emotion. Where we differ is the quantity. When you want 1 centimeter, if you put 1 kilo, what will happen? So that's a discretion actors need to decide what context, what quantity of emotion we need to produce. Your problem is you have Navarasa already a standard template is there. So you're applying the standard template where it is not needed. So I said fear. So somebody working with me just dropped my Chinese vessel, and because of I'm Adishakti technique, he will give me a whack. So that's a quantity difference. What we are doing, practice. But once you practice, you need the imagination of an actor to connect it. How much quantity creates subtlety? Subtlety. So in our practices, once you learn all the bigger way of doing, you need to completely go to zero negative way of doing. That is much more tougher. To keep the emotional pressure inside, but keep minimum muscularity. And you know, if anybody, if you're familiar with a Japanese tradition called no performance, the idea is to keep all the emotion, make blank. Because emotion don't convey with the facial structure alone, it conveys. The first line of communication is your sweat, your pheromone. So that a person to capture, you don't need to even look at my face. I can be silently sitting here and change your entire emotionality. It's happened to you. That's why when you are walking towards your friend and you saw your friend and that person may not even uttered a word. You ask, what happened to you? Why are you sad? That person have no emotion. So Navarasa, when you practice with the quantity. Don't go with the standard template. That because our reference point is classical forms. And that classical form is a different idiom. We are performing somebody going, Raju just lost his job, frightened walking home. I can't do that. I'll be just doing. Next transition is I'm in pain, lost all confidence. If I took these two pressure points and when I walk, I'm the person. And I'm lost. I can't generate. So when I ask for a chai, I'll be in some other world. I use the same technique, but the quantity I reduce into suiting the character. That's what we do in some of the construction when the character. And cinema, it's worked. For me, I worked with the multiple actors. Some of the one movie is screening here. That is called ARM. We done 3 characters. Constructed 3 characters without changing much. So these are all possibility for looking at it in camera because you need to create something 20-second, 30-second shot. How do you create it? That's why this permutation allow you to come quickly. And if your director say, oh, I don't want that emotion, you will be on ego. You will not be in ego because you know what to omit, what to add. So your process of interacting with the visualizer will be much more cohesive. I said, that's what I'm saying. But Navarasa is what I explained. I can't do that now. I would have been, I could have been done that. But I'm talking about Navarasa. Don't take it as like it's a science. Understand that. Don't with a classical template. It's something that you are doing. You are a permutation of this, combination of these emotions in your day-to-day life. Okay. I think that will be fantastic. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
See
sir, for that
Thank you.
wonderful session. We would like to wholeheartedly thank Mr. Vinay Kumar for such an insightful masterclass. We also extend our gratitude to our audience for your active participation. We hope you've gained a wealth of knowledge from this theatrical session. With this, we are signing off for today.